Hey everybody, what is going on? Today we are going to be taking a look at our panda egg incubation process. So a couple weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, our panda cories, those little guys right there, cute little Corydoras, our favorite, decided to lay eggs in our spawning mop over here. We've tried a bunch of different parameters. We've been trying to get them to spawn for the longest of times, and we actually had success with eggs lately. So we had a batch of 18 eggs, and then a couple days after that we had another 14 eggs, and then just the other day we pulled 33 eggs out of this mop over here. So our first couple batches of eggs have been growing up quite nicely, but we have trays just absolutely everywhere in our fish room. So we want to have more of a consolidated process in order to raise these eggs up. So currently how we do it is, as soon as we decide we want to have our panda cories lay eggs, we go through all of our breeding parameters with the tank, all of our triggers. We can go over that in another video, but as soon as we pull the eggs out of this mop here, it's much easier for us to go into this top tank up here, and we put the eggs in these little white tubs. As you can see, we got a couple eggs right there. We got a plethora of eggs. This is those 33 eggs I was talking about. We actually need to blow those out and separate them a little bit so that way they don't fungus up, but they look all to be fertilized. And then over here, we actually have some, camera can focus, some little wigglers. But they come up here and they sit in these top tanks with a couple drops of methylene blue, and I have an air hose in each one of them just to keep the water going a little bit. Keep the water oxygenated. When I put the lid back on, that'll go down in the water. But as soon as the eggs have hatched, the panda cories take about 2 days to eat off their egg sacs. And after about 2 days of eating off their egg sacs, they need to be moved out of these trays, get the methylene blue out of the water a little bit. And what we've been doing is over in our 55-gallon tank, let me get the air hose out of this one. I don't know if you can see them in there. Currently we have this clear plastic tray where we have a little bit of Java moss in here, and we feed Hikari first bites, some baby brine shrimp, and we got about 22 little baby panda cories all over the inside of the bottom of this tray. But currently this tray floats on the top of our 55-gallon tank, and we're not really that big of a fan of this process, so we want to see if we could do something better. So got a little project right here underneath our angel tank. There's this perfect little 14-inch gap that we didn't really plan to do anything with. So we're gonna see if we can turn this little gap right here and these plastic bins into a perfect little panda cory egg incubation setup. All right, so hopefully that angle is perfectly fine for you guys to see what I'm about to do here. So we got these plastic bins from Walmart. We got a big one, and this big one is going to house about 6 of these little trays. So as you just saw, we have one little clear plastic tray sitting up in the top of our 55-gallon that has kind of our Corydora grow out. But we want to give our panda cories a little bit more space while still keeping them kind of confined, because we don't want them as little tiny babies to have to scavenge an entire like 40-gallon tank in order to find food. We want food to be readily accessible for them for their first couple weeks in life, maybe the first 2 to 3 weeks before you put them in a bigger grow out tank. And having these 4 buckets, this will give us plenty of time, because panda cories can lay eggs every 4 days, every 7 days or so. So in order to have, your 5 days to hatch, your 2 days to eat the yolk sac, and then another 2 to 3 weeks in order for them to grow out as little gremlins. And then before you put them in their main tank, we have 4 different stages essentially. So 4 different buckets that we can use, one for each week of eggs. So if we get eggs today, and if we get eggs, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, by the time we get to that 4th week, this one over here should be ready to go to move into one of our bigger full tanks. So that way the panda cories should be big enough to find their own food in a bigger tank. So what we've done to make life a little bit easier, as you probably saw in that other video or the other clip, is having a clear tray floating on the top of the water. You can't really see them too well, so you're kind of just looking through the tray and looking at the rest of the tank, which is not something we really want to do in order to see the panda cories easily. So we took these little trays and spray painted them white. And normally I would not do that, because I don't know if the spray paint would be toxic or whatever, to the other fish in the tank. However, since we're doing it in this little layout, there's going to be water in this big tub with a little bit of a heater so that way the water stays warm, and these little guys are just going to float on top of that water so that way the water in these little bins, which are also going to hold the Panda Corys, is going to be the same temperature as the entirety of this big plastic bin. So all we have to do is heat the big plastic bin, and the water inside these little ones will be the same temperature. So I'm going to quickly remove all of the tape off of these little tubs, and we're going to see how it looks. All right, so we got all the tape off of the outside of those trays. And again, the reason why we spray painted the trays is so that way we can see when there's water and there's some Java moss and there's baby panda corys inside of this tray. We want to be able to see those baby pandas with ease without having to see through the tray and look at the rest of the tank and things like that. So we painted the outside so that way it won't leak any toxins on the inside here. And for the most part, it came off pretty good, except for I'm kind of bad with spray painting. I'm pretty sure that's user error. A couple little bits of tape peeled off the paint, but that's fine. It's mostly the bottom that we wanted. Going up a little bit was our choosing. So this should work perfectly fine. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get some water and we're gonna fill up the big tub with water and see if these ones can actually float a little bit. All right, so we got our big bucket filling up with water now. I'm using our little vacuum slash hose combo. Really cool gadget. We can talk about that later. But I think this is gonna work pretty good. So we're gonna fill this up a little bit, and then we're gonna put water in the trays so that way they stop moving around so dang much. And then we can start actually decorating them, put Java moss in them. It doesn't matter what the parameters of this water is. This is just normal tap water because no fish are gonna go in this part. This is strictly just to keep the 4 habitats that we're gonna have right here the same temperature, or whatever temperature we want. So we're gonna have a little heater in the big box as well, and the heater is gonna tell us if we want all 4 trays to be 70 degrees, 75 degrees, what have you. Since these are gonna be baby panda grow outs, we're probably gonna have it just a little bit warmer than what Panda Corys want, just because warmer temperatures normally make your fish grow a little bit faster. So we're probably gonna have this sitting maybe around 75 degrees or so. Okay, so we got it all set up. I might need to play with the water levels, maybe a little bit less water in the big one, more water in the top ones. I haven't put any water in the top ones yet. Waiting to see how it all looks. I put a little bit of water in this one here, and it's kind of going a little crooked and sideways and stuff like that, but I'm sure that'll level out once there's water in the other ones. So I think it's time we put some Panda Cory fry in one of these and see how they like it. The only thing I'm missing is the heater in the bottom of the big tub. I was supposed to get the heater in the mail today, ended up not coming. It says it's coming tomorrow, but they'll be perfectly fine overnight because I've set my house degrees to about 72, which is what they're already in at the moment, so it shouldn't really get any colder than that. Plus Panda Corys, they like the cold anyways. It's just I want these to be a little warmer, and we can change the temperature in the future. All right, now that we got this one in here, these 2 still haven't been filled up yet. There's nothing in them, but I'm hoping that once we fill these 2 up, they will sink a little bit more. Water displacement, you know, they'll all level out. So before we go into filling up those other 2, I want to at least get some air into these guys. Oxygenate the water a little bit. There we go. Now those guys are gonna be happy campers. We'll probably go ahead and feed them here in a little bit. Maybe turn down the air a little bit. That's a little aggressive. And yeah. All right, so we are all set. We have our 1-week-old Panda Corys. Some of them are a week and a half. This was our first 2 batches, and then we quickly realized that with the one thing in our 55-gallon, just the one tub, we didn't want to mix some sizes because, as you can probably tell, those guys are a lot bigger than those guys. These guys have probably only been hatched for, I don't know, 2 to 3 days. These guys are anywhere between a week to a week and a half. So they're all kind of sitting in the back over there. But as soon as I get some more Java moss, I'm gonna put some Java moss in here and replace that plant. I just put that plant in there so that way they have something to hide under. But I'm gonna get these guys a quick bite to eat, And yeah, this whole contraption, I think this is going to work pretty well. So that way we can have 4 different groups of baby pandas. And as soon as one group is about 3 weeks old, we're going to kick it out to our 20-gallon long tank that we've specifically set up in order to grow these guys out. And then after about 2 to 3 months in the 20-gallon long, then they can move back into their parent tank, or they'll be ready for resale, whichever one is needed at the time, depending on if I have too many Panda Corys or not enough Panda Corys. Right now I have about 13 parents in here that like to breed. Some of them are still just a little bit too young to breed, but I've got at least 3 or 4 that are big enough to start breeding. So all of our babies are coming from at least those 3 to 4. Maybe some of the juvenile ones are getting to that age, but yeah, we're hoping that this is going to be a game changer for our egg incubation and baby grow out, because we don't, again, the reason why we're doing the baby grow out this way is that way they have a smaller confined space and we can put the food right in their faces. So if we put the food right in their faces, it's much easier for them to find, it's much easier for them to eat, and it's much easier for them to grow, rather than if you put them straight into a 20-gallon long tank, they're going to be hungry searching for the food, because the food is only going to be in a little spot of your 20-gallon long or something like that. So you want to keep them tight, secure, and obviously away from any predators that might have use them as a bite to eat. So yeah, this is going to work pretty well, and if it doesn't, I will definitely let you guys know, but figure we might as well try something. On the topic of the eggs though, I think we're going to keep this method that we're using for the eggs, where up in our top 40-gallon, which is our Pleco 40-gallon, it's just easier to see and easier to handle if we're not, you know, crouched over for that bottom tank down there, which is where all the Panda Corys are. But we're going to keep this method of having some methylene blue in a little tiny tub so we can watch them grow out. And then if we see any eggs that are looking like they're going to fungus for whatever reason, even if they're in the methylene blue, like maybe that one right there, if you can see, oh, and maybe even that one right there, how they're a little bit lighter than all the other eggs, those ones are probably unfertilized. However, we are going to keep them in just in case my suspicion is false and anything happens with them. But yeah, we should have quite a few Panda Corys in this batch coming up, and these should hatch in the next couple days or so. So once these guys hatch, we'll leave them in here for a day or two, let them wear off those egg sacs, and then after that, they're going straight into this new contraption, into bin number 3, and we'll see how it goes. The only thing that I thought about is it's on the floor, so got to make sure no dogs come over and, you know, take a lick at the water. So got to figure out something to do with the face of this in order to keep the dogs away. And we have a light coming. I just have a magnetic flashlight up there right now, but we got to get a light for this thing too. We didn't think about that, but yeah, should work. Thank you all for watching this video. Hopefully this helped some of you with, I don't know, your own egg incubation, your own fry grow out. I'm sure this method could work with all sorts of other types of fries, but since these are our first bit of Panda Corys, and Panda Corys are some of our favorite fish that we have right now, we definitely wanted to try to do right by these guys. So we wanted to make a little something for them to help them grow, make sure that they survive. So again, thank you guys for watching. This is a new YouTube channel, so, you know, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you want to see more of these types of videos. Let me know if you want to see videos on how I came to actually breeding these Panda Corys or breeding some of our other fish. Let me know what you want to see, and hopefully we can go on the fish keeping journey together. I'm still new at the hobby, but I'm learning things every day, and I watch a bunch of videos online, I Google a bunch of things, and some of it doesn't quite make sense to me, so that's kind of why I'm making these videos. I want to be able to express some of my knowledge and, you know, summarize it and shoot it out to you guys. So let me know what you want to see, and peace.